In the United States, residency types generally fall into several categories, depending on the context: immigration, taxation, or legal residency. Here's an overview of the main types. 1. Immigration and visa categories. Permanent resident, green card holder, a person who has been granted authorization to live and work in the U.S. on a permanent basis. Temporary resident, a non-citizen who is allowed to live in the U.S. for a limited time, typically under a visa category like student, F1, tourist, B2, or work, H1B. Refugee or asylee, individuals granted asylum or refugee status due to persecution or fear of persecution in their home countries. Conditional resident, a status granted to certain individuals, often those who receive their green card through marriage, which requires them to meet certain conditions to remove the conditions and obtain permanent residency. 2. Tax residency. U.S. citizen, a person born in the U.S. or naturalized who is subject to U.S. tax laws on their worldwide income. Resident alien, a non-citizen who meets the IRS criteria for residency, typically based on the green card test or the substantial presence test. Resident aliens are taxed similarly to U.S. citizens. Non-resident alien, a non-citizen who does not meet the criteria for residency and is taxed only on U.S. source income. 3. Legal residency for purposes other than immigration or taxation. Domicile, the place where an individual has their permanent home and to which they intend to return. This can affect various legal matters, such as state residency for voting or education purposes. State residency, the status of being a resident of a particular state, which can impact things like in-state tuition rates, voting rights, and eligibility for state benefits. Each type of residency has different implications for rights, obligations, and benefits, so it's important to understand which category applies to your situation. Here are some of the main types of non-immigrant visas for foreigners. 1. Tourist and business visas. B1 visa, for business visitors attending meetings, conferences, or negotiating contracts. B2 visa, for tourists visiting for leisure, medical treatment, or visiting friends and family. 2. Student and exchange visitor visas. F1 visa, for academic students enrolled in a full-time program at a U.S. educational institution. J1 visa, for exchange visitors participating in programs that promote cultural and educational exchange, including students, scholars, and interns. M1 visa, for vocational or non-academic students. 3. Work visas. H1B visa, for specialty occupations requiring a higher degree of education or specialized skills. L1 visa, for intracompany transferees who work in managerial or executive positions, or have specialized knowledge. O1 visa, for individuals with extraordinary ability or achievement in their field. P1 visa, for internationally recognized athletes or entertainers. R1 visa, for religious workers. 4. Diplomatic and official visas. A1 and A2 visas, for foreign government officials and employees. G1, G2, G3, G4 visas, for representatives of international organizations and their staff. 5. Transit and crew visas. C visa, for foreign nationals traveling through the U.S. en route to another country. D visa, for crew members working on ships or aircraft. 6. Other non-immigrant visas. E1 visa, for treaty traders conducting substantial trade between the U.S. and their home country. E2 visa, for treaty investors who invest a substantial amount of capital in a U.S. business. T1 visa, for victims of human trafficking who are assisting law enforcement in investigations. U1 visa, for victims of certain crimes who have suffered substantial physical or mental abuse and are helping law enforcement. Each visa type has specific requirements and limitations, so it's important to consult the U.S. Department of State or an immigration attorney for detailed information based on individual circumstances.